This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. We're live in the studio, so you can text on 81215. You can also follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Good morning, guys. Lovely to see you face to face again.
Morning.
Morning, boys.
Alan's gone for that sort of what we used to call the Hawaiian shirt. In Hawaii, they call it something like a kuaha shirt.
Oh, do they? I thought they might
so.
just call it shirt.
Do you know what?
I think some do.
I like your look today. It's very...
Thanks.
I would have had my heart broken by you on a summer holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I think it's young, up-and-coming assistant of Magnum PI. Look. Anyway, that's that out of the way. Me and Alan had a lovely conversation just before we went on air. It made me so happy with us discussing how good Merlin, the TV show, is.
Yeah, you really were.
I mean, I'm surprised to be in that conversation, but I was in it.
Oh,
at
really
one
good.
point...
he wasn't in Merlin. He was in the conversation.
Frank,
Could have been in Merlin.
can you recall... I appreciate it's so nice that you both have found something, that
We can
you
bond
enjoy.
over.
Yeah.
Now that comedy's
But I mean,
been
the
snatched away from
raptures.
me.
Yeah, exactly. All that happened to me back in the 90s.
But honestly, the raptures you were both going into.
Yeah.
Frank said something. Can you recall what you said, Frank?
I think I said it gets richer with every series, which I do believe. I stand by that.
War
Yeah.
and Peace.
Yeah. It does have an epic quality to it. I'll give it that.
I'll say. Well, it's when two worlds collide, the supernatural and the historical.
What do you find particularly rich about the drama? Is it the wizards' costumes
that's
or the magic tricks?
I wouldn't. Would I like it without the magic? Maybe, but I wouldn't love it without the magic. There's my review.
That's what Debbie McGee said.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what? I said "say yes, Paul" the other day as one of those catchphrases that just pops back into your usage. And I asked someone a question. I went, "Say yes, Paul." I hadn't done that for maybe 20 years.
Oh.
Good to be back.
Can I tell you something? I don't often start with a gift because I had a letter today.
I'll
that
say
said,
you don't.
I had a letter today that said, "I know you don't like receiving gifts." Who's been spreading that nonsense?
Well, I think it was you when you used to say, "Don't send me stuff."
No,
I'll
but
smash
that
it up."
was... No, what I meant... Yeah, I did say that. But what I meant was if I'm talking on air about, I don't know, dime bars, I'm not one of those people who does it in order to say,
Right.
send me free. But
I-
an act of human kindness first thing in the morning. I've been happy at that on many occasions.
Can I say I thought that's why I feel quite sorry for your partner, Kath. I mean, I do anyway, but she's she's an absolutely first-class gift giver. I'd
Oh,
say
she
one
is.
of the top 5.
She goes the extra gift mile.
And yet you don't appreciate.
I don't think that's true. I love
No, I'm not
gifts.
saying... Oh, okay, calm down, everyone.
What's your point?
My point is that, you don't... If you don't like getting gifts that much, I'm just saying,
Look, I've got a beautiful gift which I'm going to show you now.
Okay.
I had... first of all, there's a quote. Who do you think said this?
Go on.
I really believe that if you practice enough, you could paint the Mona Lisa with a 2-inch brush.
It's got to be Bob Ross.
It's Bob Ross, of course, from the Joy of Painting. That's what it's
My
called.
other guess was Lisa Simpson, but I don't think you're as big a fan of this.
No, well, I love... It's a show, one of those shows I love, but I never watch.
Oh.
I've been sent... Look at that. I've been sent a Bob Ross bobblehead. Now, it says inside that there's a sound on it. So let's see if this works.
And let's make some nice little clouds that just float around and have fun all day.
I don't know if you got that
Oh,
on...
that's marvellous. We'll put it
is.
on the socials.
We'll put it on the... But it's a perfect... Bob Ross, as I say, does... Is it called... It's called The Joy of Painting, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on basically every channel.
Oh, yeah.
There's, I think there's over 300 episodes, and it's always the same painting. But you know what? There's a charm about it. And this is a really lovely... Also, I think because Bob favours the... I don't know what you can call this in a politically correct world, but he's got like fuzzy hair. He's had it back combed into a thing. I think you could use this if you lost your pestle. Your pestle and mortar. I think I could probably, when I'm doing my alchemy on a night, I could grind some minerals with my Bob Ross bobblehead. There you go. That was the sentence I was not anticipating when we began the show.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
And this is something you might be able to help me with. Partly because Al's a parent, and partly because you're a lady.
Oh, yeah.
Emily. But my 8-year-old Boz was in the garden and he was practicing cartwheels.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, "Will you show me how to do a cartwheel?" Well, I mean, come on.
Which A&E did they get you from?
Well, first of all, I had to be nailed to a cartwheel, of course, to be able to do it a la St. Catherine. Well, I realised I sort of had to, I thought maybe I can show him in stages that don't involve me doing one. Would either of you feel confident you could do one?
I can do a cartwheel, but it's not a good one.
What's wrong with it, would you say? Got the spokes missing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very tall person, so it's just it's not elegant. It's slow, and also I've got a slightly iffy right wrist, so I don't fully commit to the cartwheel.
It's all about commitment. Isn't it? I realise. I said that to him. You've got to see. That's why I think of it now. I don't know if you're allowed to say this at all in the modern world. I think of it as a girl's thing.
Oh, okay. I was always more of a. If you could look in the book,
in the brochure.
Don't think you are. It's been good knowing you.
Yeah, well.
I was always more of a handstand fan.
Oh.
And the producer's nodding. So
did you knot the skirt? Remember when girls used to do that?
I tucked the skirt.
Oh,
I tucked it into the sides of the underwear.
Okay.
All right.
Is that a bit graphic? I think it's okay, isn't it?
And
turned it into a sort of pantaloon breeches style. I loved a handstand. I felt one had more control.
Mm-hmm. You see, I have always thought the reason it's a girl's thing is for the sake of modesty for the dress and skirt wearers, that you need the speed so that the skirt stays in place, and that's your motivation for that impetus. That's what I thought. Anyway, well, I realised that when I've never done a good one. I do a slightly crouched. I tell you what, imagine if you were working in a high-class kitchen and you dropped a cloche, and it sort of rolled round on the floor before.
What is a cloche?
You know those things that when you have a meal sometimes in a very posh place. Trust me. And they have like a big curved lid on the top, and they remove it in a sort of a tanner.
Also the name of a hat.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, I hope I've got the right name.
No,
for it.
it's right. It's named. The cloche is called that because it
looks a bit like Bob's hair.
Got you.
On my Bob Ross's hair. And that's what So when I've cartwheeled in the past, it's been more like a rolling cloche, which is not good enough.
But quite a good way to learn it. There's also, if you have one of those, those Swiss balls, the big exercise balls.
Oh, yes.
You can actually learn a cartwheel as a kid going around that ball. I'll send you a video. It's good.
One of the most difficult
Probably too late now.
I had a very difficult conversation with a man at the Albion, actually,
Just
before a match. And he was a very mightily big man. I mean, he was again, I don't know what the terminology is now, but he was...
We'll stick with mightily big man.
So big unit?
He's a fat bloke.
Yeah, big unit.
That's what he was.
Okay.
And he said to me, I was at the gym this week, so I got up off the floor. And he said, can you believe it? He said, I was on one of those exercise balls and it burst. He said, the equipment, you got to... And I was, when someone's saying something... I mean, it was one of the rare occasions he wasn't the elephant in the room. And I couldn't breathe. Oh, what could you say to that? So in the end, I just lied and said, that's absolutely terrible. Terrible. That happened to me, but because it was pierced by my elbows.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, could I just take us briefly to the outside world via Twitter? We've had a message from Pierce O'Halloran.
Don't tell me. That is the man that sent us the merchandise a la Lewis Chessman.
Correct. And Pierce said, I was so delighted at getting a mention on Frank on the Radio last week that I made a little animation of it. Good move. And then he's got a little chess piece emoji. Thanks, Frank, Alan and Em, for making my week/month/year. And the animation is, it's fantastic. We should retweet
really
it,
good.
actually.
Good fun.
Yeah, I should say if you live in the Outer Hebrides, you probably don't have to do that much to make their year. I shouldn't think it's an event's existence. I could be wrong. I tell you what, it's a lovely T-shirt. I can feel the loom in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, when you get a T-shirt and you can feel sort of the 21st century. It's in its plasticity.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas I can feel the loom in those shirts.
Right.
I can feel tradition and long nights with the sound of the clock.
Oh, I'd hate that.
You don't hear it after a bit.
Shut that clock up. That's
Well,
what
he's
I'd be
drowning
thinking.
it out with his loom work. But I've seen the animation. It's very fine.
Yeah.
And I forgot how funny this show was, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's top end.
Nice to just watch 2 minutes of it back in animated form.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I wish he'd done the 3 hours.
Well, hopefully he'll have a quiet month and he'll do that all.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be happy to that, I should think. Next time somebody pops in the gift shop. That could be, 2023?
Yeah.
They'll be in the 3 Stags, of course, now, as we speak. What do you
Yes.
think? What do you imagine? I'm speaking now at... when I'm not supposed to say the hour because we go out later. But let's say we're on Saturday morning, and it's early on Saturday morning. What do you think Damon Albarn is doing at this precise moment? Sleeping? Fishing? He's just coming to the end of night fishing.
I think he's probably going to a West London deli.
Oh, you think? At
Pick
this
up
hour?
some- yeah.
I think
he
I'm going to
might-
go with sleeping.
Oh, do you think?
Feeding the
Yeah.
pigs, I'm thinking. I'm guessing
Is
he
he a
might.
farmer?
I've no idea, but he had the look of someone who,
No, that's the other
having
one.
years
The
in
other one.
Soho.
Became a
Alex
cheese
James,
maker,
he
didn't he?
became a cheese
Oh, that's
farmer.
right. He'll be
Cheese farm.
he'll be freeing up the Kurds. I don't mean
No.
in the Middle East. I mean in his churn.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, that's what he'll be doing. I think it's a good. What is? If anyone's got an idea what they think Damon Albarn, you might live near him. You might know what he's doing now. I'd love to know what he's at this precise moment. I'd love to know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Text
Ice
in
sculpture.
on 81215 if you know what Damon Albarn
81215
is doing.
It's an unusual texting, but we also seem to be running a texting about unusual proposals.
Well, this was it. We were reading out. We weren't reading out anything. I don't know what I've started with that with. We were talking about a guy who'd proposed to his partner and accidentally burnt their flat
That's
down.
right,
He hadn't
yes.
burnt it to the ground, I don't think, because I think it was a 3rd floor flat.
No.
He'd
he'd
burnt
wrecked it.
He'd burnt it to the lift. And and we were talking about proposals and these elaborate proposals that people go in for. And of course, I asked people to send them in with about 30 seconds of the show left, which was, I
Yes.
mean, again, amateurish broadcasting at its worst. However, the situation has been saved, and after this, we'll listen to some responses.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Proposals.
Yes.
Yes.
We've had many different responses. Steve Southwood has said, "I'm a GP, wife a nurse. I took her to Welcome Collection on Euston Road, which is I've been there.
Very good.
Yeah.
Heart exhibition." Whole hall full of heart-related stuff. In the heart transplant section, I gave her the ring and told her I wanted to give her my heart with heart-shaped card and photos.
That is really... I mean, he might as well have actually got some offal
Yeah,
and attached that to the card.
put the engagement ring in there.
That is... that is the most heart-based thing I've ever heard.
We've also had Michael Cook. I proposed on the ice rink at Somerset House. I pretended to fall over and got up on one knee. The trouble was all the stewards had seen me fall and raced over whilst mid-question to see if I was okay. They all waited with bated breath for her to reply. It took me 10 laps to do it. Oh,
Imagine
Mike.
that. I'll tell you
Mike.
what, I bet you that's the best he's ever skated.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think
Because he's
so?
trying to not be good at it.
No, I think because in the early years of Taskmaster, the popular comedy show, when I was on it, when the money was rubbish.
Has that changed? That's a shame.
I've come for Channel
has it?
4 now, yeah.
Oh,
is it?
it's gone up
Oh,
now.
yeah. It's
I
gone.
didn't know it had gone
I
to
mean,
Channel.
good luck to him, you know. Channel 4, catch it while you can, as they say. So, there was a bit as a task when I had to ride a horse and paint a horse that was next to me on an easel that was
I remember
strapped
seeing
to my
that,
arm.
yeah.
It's the best horse riding I've ever done in my life, and it's because I was focusing on something else.
Right.
And I bet
Yes.
he might be a bit nervous maybe on the ice and all that, but when you're thinking, I'm going to propose in a minute, going to propose, I bet you he glided beautifully across there. That was the moment. I bet she thought, you are a god of a man. Oh, what's this coming out of that small velvet pouch?
Also,
Oh, that was another occasion.
it's probably a good little lesson for anybody that's trying to be good at ice skating is, if you want an optimal performance, just propose to somebody that day.
Yes. Yeah, that
Anyone.
is. This is, I don't know if you remember Spalding Gray did a film called Swimming to Cambodia when he had to swim in very dangerous waters at one point. Not for the film, but just to show off. And he left his training shoe on the beach with, I think, $10,000 and a Rolex watch in it. And he called it displacement of anxiety. He was so worried about those belongings that the swimming was fine. So I think it is a thing. I'd recommend it to anyone.
And Cookie says, I proposed with a message in a bauble whilst we...
Message in a bauble, yeah.
I wish Sting had done that to Trudy.
Oh, for Christmas single.
Should have done that. Yeah. Why haven't they done that?
Oh, the fools.
Fools. Whilst we decorated our Christmas tree.
Wow, how did he get it in the bauble?
Well, easy. Ambience was somewhat punctured as my wife kept asking me why I hadn't taken off my shoes in the house. It just seemed weird to propose in socks. Oh, I understand.
And also, if the bauble's going to be broken for the thing, you don't want to be walking on
The pine
on shards.
needles
Walking
as
on
well.
broken glass like Annie Lennox.
Oh, how did he get it in the bauble? Do you think someone said that about King Harold at the Battle of Hastings? That's a great... I would like to know, if you're listening, what's his name, the guy?
Cookie.
Cookie. Oh, Cookie.
Cookie.
I remember him in 77 Sunset Strip
Okay.
with Ephraim Zimbliss Jr.
Cookie, tell us how you got the message.
Message in
In the bauble.
bauble, yeah.
Many of these are actually quite moving, but we'll just
I'll
quickly...
scrub those.
We'll quickly do one that is not so much. In an Indian restaurant on Valentine's Day many years ago, the guy on the table next to us proposed ... and was turned down. Then the fire eater the restaurant had employed for entertainment, yes, really, set the fire alarm off and we all had to stand outside for 15 minutes. That's from Andy Jordan.
I bet she got outside and looked round and the bloke had gone. He was probably just standing there deliberately waiting to perish by flame.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Should we continue with some proposal?
Yeah, I thought they were rich pickings.
We've just had a text in actually, or email, from 376, so it must be a text. Morning all, I've been witness to 2 proposals where they were refused. One at sunset on a beach.
Sounds nice.
At least you can do
You
like...
say that now. You could have said yes, though.
But then you could
And-
do... You know James Mason at the end of A Star Is Born? When he
do I
just
know it.
walks into the ocean and keeps walking, and that's how he does. That's what you do, I think, if you've been refused.
And one in a quiet rooftop restaurant. where there was us and the other couple. Oh.
Again, if you're in a rooftop restaurant, there's only one way out.
Walk off.
Once you've been turned around.
If I see another one ever build up, which there always is, you can feel the tension, then I'm leaving. My husband says I'm the jinx.
If you
My husband
know,
and I, I'm
if
sorry.
there's a romantic rooftop restaurant near you, I suggest you purchase a baseball mitt and hang around outside it, just waiting for engagement rings coming flying over the top from refused people. It's such a stressful. I thought it was kind of dying out, and that people, when you
Marriage.
talk about that is dying out. But I mean, when you talk about your proposal as something that, like, I think last week you said it was through a side window on the car.
Yeah, it was. I used to describe it as a conversation that got out of hand, our marriage.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what. Yeah.
You had a sort of drive-by proposal.
Well, Al, what about Davy Clark? He had a similar type of proposal, would you say? He said, my girlfriend's passport was due for renewal. So I said, you might as well have my surname to save having to spend another 70 quid when you've got to change it if we get married within the next 10 years. We've been married for 17 years now.
I think that's nice. Is that a nice one?
I think there's romance in that, though. Like,
Nice and cheap, Al.
If the lady Dave Clark, is it Dave Clark? Yeah, if the
Davey.
lady Davy Clark involved was thinking, do you know what I really love about him is his pragmatism, that would seal the deal, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I'm sure she was glad all over when when he did that. If you get that joke,
I do.
What? Be careful with your knees. What I like about that joke, it's that thing that misdirection that magicians do.
Yeah.
Is that what he's done? He's wrapped the proposal in admin.
Yes.
So he's talking about that. She's not, because it must be horrible. Let's say I know it's the other way around. And I know people marry their own sex and people. Women propose, but let's just take the traditional bloke on his knee. It's quite stressful for the woman, isn't it? If there's any doubts at all.
Yeah.
I'd like it a bit baggier, so I got room to sort of talk it through a bit, rather than a ping, yes, no. Come on, guys, stop putting people on the spot.
So a baggy
With your
proposal is
proposal.
what you like.
Baggy proposal. I have seen a proposal out the
Of course you
baggies.
have. I can imagine what that was like.
Yeah. The entire Bromley Road end at the Albion started going, you don't know what you're doing.
Very funny.
Don't know what, and all that. So it was
Very funny.
I wonder if that could stop a proposal. A bloke thinking, hold on,
I don't know what I'm doing.
maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, it's they're good though. I like the crazy proposals. They're all so. Some of them are very moving and beautiful, but we don't really do that on the show, do we? I think that's
No.
I don't.
There's
know who does
places for that, and they're not here.
No.
You
Does
know?
Jason Manford do moving and beautiful on a Sunday morning? I hear it in chunks because I'm doing things on a Sunday morning, as many of us Roman Catholics are. But I don't think I've heard him do moving and beautiful. It's just inappropriate, really, on air. Unless, it's da-na-na-na-na-na. Karen had her colon removed that autumn. I'm not. You think I'm singing this? I'm actually playing it on a slightly bent saw with a nail. My dad used to do that.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
I'm Frank Skinner, and I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us on 81215. We're live. You can do it. This is the new normal. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. That's the new formal. And you can. I'm desperately trying to think of another one. You can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. That is the new Gaubles in Glasgow.
You asked earlier, what do you think Damon Albarn is doing this morning?
Yeah, this precise morning.
I will say, just to give you a general idea, people are divided into... Very Big House in the Country has been referenced a lot.
Oh, that's good.
There have been references to Liam Gallagher, obviously, listening to Oasis, etc. We've had some other ones, though. David Gray. Hello, David.
David Gray.
Yeah.
Babylon. Something like that.
I'm just an old man.
Babylon.
Funnily enough, David says, ordering a new coat fancy pen set and a Thunderbirds figurine from Amazon. # Parker Life. So he's done a bit of a Parker.
I've got David Gray audiobook reading In Memoriam by Lord Alfred Tennyson.
Big wow.
Brilliant.
Is it really?
No, I made
Is it
it up.
good?
I made that.
It's odd.
Nick,
Who's going to phone? He's not going to be the phone call.
Nick Owen.
Nick Owen.
Owen.
Yeah, from former This Morning.
I mean, we get a lot of celebrities contacting
I
us.
talk to Nick Owen a lot when I'm at the cricket.
Oh, do you?
His son's a very good cricketer, yeah. Okay, carry on.
He suggests pouring soya milk on his sugar-free granola.
Oh.
What do you think of that?
Now, well, I have a memory, and not many of us can say that at our age, I was in Iceland.
Oh,
With
beautiful
David Baddiel.
there. Reykjavik.
Love it.
No, it was the sausage cross pizza. And no, it was. I was in Iceland, and he had a restaurant.
He's got...
No tea on the end. Restaurant.
Oh, really?
You couldn't get tea there.
Oh.
Yeah, so it could be in Reykjavik as we speak.
He could, I
I don't know what he does now. What does he? Is he still a gorilla and stuff?
I think he does a lot of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Gorillas, I think.
I think he writes
No,
the
but he's
music.
a gorilla.
Does he not write the music for like modern operas and stuff like that?
Does he?
Just lots of creative,
It's with the
interesting
gorillas.
stuff.
He's been drinking the old blackcurrant juice and going a bit wild, crazy wild.
I'm sure he's creatively active. I just want to know how he spends his Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Has he got
You're allowed to
children?
be curious. Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Is he at socially distanced cricket?
Maybe.
Oh, who knows?
He's got. I think there are children involved. Yes.
He's sorry, I spoke off. I remember he was on Fantasy Football once, which
How was he?
Kids was a show I used to do with David Baddiel back in the before the old king died. And he came on with a bottle of red wine, which he was drinking out of. And halfway through the interview, he started reading the NME.
Oh, he needed the iconography. He's like a medieval painting in that respect.
He was, yeah. I think he had a skull with him to remind him of mortality. I can't remember. I couldn't.
No, that was
be.
Bez.
Yeah, I think, maybe.
He popped in.
Yes, okay.
I also wanted to raise something which I saw in the news this week. And when I say news, it's the lighter end of the news. I won't
Oh,
brag.
so.
That's where we operate.
We reside. It was. Did you hear this? It was the composer of the EastEnders theme tune, Simon May.
Do you know Simon May?
I even left a pause for
Well
you
done,
both.
well
Thank you
done.
for leaping in. He's angry. He's very angry.
Oh yes, he is, isn't he?
Because it's been cut short from 1 minute 20 to 28 seconds, and it's got beef.
Yeah. So it's the end bit, isn't it? It's the. I think his autobiography is called Doof Doof.
Yeah.
Yes, the whole
credits.
thing, the credits used to be 1:20 and now it's 28 seconds.
Yeah.
And he says the problem with that is you need that music at the end to digest
He
the
needs
events.
it. You need it, Simon.
I think this is a man who might be being paid by the second. Do you need 1 minute 28 seconds to digest
The show?
To
Yeah,
digest
if you've got
this
3
end?
kids at private school.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I can't. I imagine you digest East. I mean, full respect to EastEnders, it's been going a long time, but I imagine one digests an episode as one would take a lozenge
Yeah.
with, swallow it in one, don't you?
Doof, 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 doof.
Exactly. You may notice that we, at the end of this show, we often play a song that's like 3 minutes 40, something like that, to give our audience time to think about, what is cartwheeling? Is there a cartwheeling distance record, for example? Is there a record what's the furthest anyone's
8,
cartwheel?
12, 15. What's the furthest you've ever cartwheeled?
I want to know what the world record is, if
And
possible.
what's the world record? Let's widen it out.
Yeah, okay. No, exactly. That's something for everybody. It's like the London Marathon. We don't just want to bring in the elite.
Yeah.
We want the joiner-inners.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So we were talking about Simon May
Do you know Simon?
and the composer of the EastEnders theme.
Yes.
And he's upset because it's been truncated. He's been the
Yes.
victim of truncation.
The victim of truncation.
Now, I'm always a fan of what I believe is referred to as Julia's theme, which is when they go for the piano for the slightly more sentimental endings.
All right.
Have you ever noticed this? Instead of the full theme, it will be do, 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 do.
Oh, do they?
And they don't kick in. Julia's theme is things like
Who
when
is Julia?
Julia Smith, I'm sorry. Julia Smith was the producer, the creator of the show.
Oh, okay.
It's named after her, but when Dr. Nethel might reminisce about the war,
Yeah.
Right.
and they do like a Beckett play sort of thing, then
Oh,
they'd
yeah,
have to,
yeah.
or a proposal or death, sadly.
Maybe at the
Julia's
end
theme.
of the three-hander with Ange and Dennis and the window cleaner.
Right.
Was it at the end of that?
Yeah, you'd get Julia's theme when there was when it was Totes Emosh.
Okay. I was an enormous Crossroads fan, which is for younger people. That was a soap opera set in the West Midlands.
The producers lost it, actually, at the idea that you were a big Crossroads.
Really? I remember
The idea
reading.
that anyone was a big Crossroads fan.
I loved it, and I remember reading a review of it, which said it was like pornography without the sex. But anyway, I loved it. And I dreamt of being one of those people who came to get their keys from reception in the background while there was a conversation going on in the foreground. It was set at a hotel called the Crossroads, motel. And do motels still happen in the UK?
Oh yes,
Okay.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So,
If anyone's the hotel motel expert, I
Yeah.
think we know who it is.
yeah.
I don't know if many do, actually.
No.
I don't.
No.
I'd like
well,
to
there was
hear
one
of
in
them.
King's Oak,
There was.
and it was
It
Crossroads.
was quite a famous one.
And the theme tune was down, 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 and then Paul McCartney and Wings did a sort of soulful, heavy on one of their albums, and occasionally they would use that as their going out music.
Oh, yeah.
But good
Oh,
old
would they?
old Paul McCartney, eh?
What was that for? Again, was that when, for example, Meg Mortimer left or something, or there was high drama? Would they use that for?
Yeah, or something a bit poignant.
Oh,
Like when the real Jack DiManio checked into the hotel. Now, you
Right.
don't know who that was, but he was a minor celebrity at the time, and a friend of Noel Gordon's who starred in. So she got him to just come into the hotel, and because he went, oh, Jack DiManio. And out he went, that was it. That was that incident. It's probably a bet.
Do you
Late
know what-
night drinking club in Birmingham. She said, oh, Jack, yeah, of course you can come on, love. She didn't talk at all like that. She's quite posh. Noel Gordon, I'm sorry, this is very down memory lane, but Noel Gordon was, I think, the first person to drive from one end of the M1 to the other.
Is that right?
Really?
She did it for a television show to introduce the M1 to
imagine
the
that
people of
getting a
Britain.
commission
No,
now.
I'm more interested in that
Yes.
than Crossroads. I never really got into Crossroads, but I'd watch somebody drive the length of the M1.
Well,
Don't know what that says about me.
maybe Crossroads could be the next Merlin the next television baton
Yeah.
that I. And if I want a China, I do have a China.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We've been discussing Simon May, the composer behind
Isn't it
the...
annoying that you want it to continue into Simon Mayo and
Right.
it stops at Simon May?
I see, yeah.
I hate that. I don't think famous people should have names that are too similar.
Yeah. Well, he composed the Eastenders music, and he's. I think he slammed BBC bosses.
Did he?
According to the tabloids,
Yeah,
but they
it's
got it from. He did an interview for a podcast which is called Distinct Nostalgia.
Oh, okay.
The Distinct Nostalgia podcast, not like just vague nostalgia.
Damon Albarn.
Very specific.
What doesn't listen to that? Because he couldn't really have Blur nostalgia on
Well, I
Distinct
listened to it,
Nostalgia.
but it's not as good as it used to be.
Thank you. Got the saw out again.
But he said of the thing that you mentioned earlier about a minute and 20 seconds of music being chopped down to 28 seconds. He said, fortunately, I wrote it in such a structural way that you can hack 4 bars away here and there. I think that's unfortunate for him now, isn't it? Surely if he'd written it with almost like a musical watermark, they couldn't have chopped it up and...
If he'd have used the lyric version, the Ange had a "anyone can fall in love," then they wouldn't have been able to.
Anyone.
Although I say that one of my bête noire.
Oh, yeah.
He used bête noire.
I know she was Coronation Street. One of my things that my pet hates is when they use a song I like in an advert. And then they do like a really bad edit so they can get to the chorus.
Oh.
Currently they're using "ça bla boum moi," and there's a bit where they and I don't know who's edited it, but it's been edited with an axe.
Oh,
These people, these terrible
in this
people.
day and age, there's
they're
no reason for
incompetent.
I remember they did that with "Everybody
Yeah.
Chicken Satay."
Yeah.
Back streets back. All right.
I don't mind them doing that. What about "It's Crumbelievable"? I don't mind them doing that, but don't
make
do
it a
those
tidy edit.
plonking edits. What's wrong with you people?
I like the idea. I know that wasn't why you said clonking, but I like the idea of you using that as a new sort of parental euphemism for an expletive. I
like the
that.
man who used to say the Tontine Homo Sheriff.
Quite.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit too close. Too close to the bone for me. That's a lovely moment. I lifted up a bit of paper and there was a crisp under it.
Oh,
It's gone.
you're having it.
Can I just
having
say something with regards to Simon May?
You may.
He said he'd had that musical composition, or the chord structure at least, for the Eastenders theme in his head since he was 7 years old.
Wow.
He said he essentially began composing the theme at 7. Your witness.
I'm going to stop
Well,
at
then.
wow.
I think they should have cut his money for giving him all material. I've got this. I'll come back to this. James Bond next.
Okay.
Frank Skinner,
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
You've been asking what Damon Albarn is up to on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, this
and,
specific one.
Yeah, 415 has texted, Damon Albarn is still asleep because he gets up when he wants, except for Wednesdays when he gets rudely interrupted by the dustman. I think it should be awakened.
right.
Oh.
It's so nearly really good, that.
It's still
You're
good.
spot on.
I think it's all right. With a little bit of workshopping, that'll be just right for tonight's gig. If there was one.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm supposed to be on stage in Birmingham the 20th of this month. Guess what? It's been postponed.
Has it?
Yeah. They never give me any reason.
Really?
So now my tour, for anyone who's got tickets or people in Blackpool who haven't bought any, we are. I'm going to be playing to a. Blackpool's going to be socially distanced, even if if they've got the what do you call it? The thing that stops people getting it.
Vaccine?
Vaccine. Thanks. By the way, Simon May. Oh, Simon May. Oh, he wrote. I looked at his credits because I thought I bet he's wrote loads of.
What else has he done then?
Well.
Not so much, it turns out.
No, I couldn't see why he's after that extra 28 seconds.
I mean, can I say, I would describe that well as a very deep well.
No, I'm being a bit harsh. He's wrote a load of stuff. I thought it says he wrote the theme to William Tell. Now, the only William Tell I know on the telly is they use Rossini's William Tell Overture.
Quite.
So
Yeah, I was gonna
with
say that.
words.
Quite.
So it goes,
Poshest thing I've ever said. Quite.
come away with William Tell, come away for the land he loved so well, for the what a day when the apple fell for Tell of Switzerland. I don't think he wrote that.
He might be claiming to. He might just be
No.
thinking I'm having that.
What from Rossini?
What else,
what
Frank?
other TV show used the William Tell Overture as its theme?
Was it a Western type
It
thing?
was. I'm going to give it.
Bonanza? No.
That's what I was going to guess.
We've gone Bonanza. Frank Skinner?
Lone Ranger.
Oh, yeah.
One out. As Mark and Lard used to say, I think.
So what else, Frank? Can you recall if there were any other themes that May lays claim to?
They tended to be like a bit on the. I don't want to put him down. He's done loads, but I mean, they don't really care what.
Sort of
the
other
show is.
soaps.
Oh yes, he did El Dorado.
Oh, well, that went well.
Yeah. He's a Jonah. He's an absolute Jonah. Anything he touches. I got a letter here.
Oh, yeah.
Hear that?
Yeah.
And it's from Lisa Mitchell. From Lisa Mitchell in Sheffield.
Oh.
And she has sent me a gift, and I don't. She begins. I know you don't like receiving gifts. Not true.
So can we just
Praise.
establish
Praise.
you like gifts, Frank? You just don't want to be compromised.
Yeah, I'm not going to do like when Dizzy Rascal did an interview in which he mentioned the Nando's black card
Right.
about 12 times until he got one. Nando's black card, I think, entitles you to go to Nando's and take, I think, 3 friends
Yeah.
for a meal whenever you want to.
That's what would rule me out.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to just take people off the street. What if you turned up with 3 homeless people and said, these are the
Why
people who
not?
should be cashing in?
You got given one of those without having to do it. Was it yours was Pizza Hut?
Yeah. Well, there's a story on that.
Okay, well,
Anyway, I'll come back to Lisa Mitchell in a minute because the producer is actually physically shoving the fez which says "end of link" into my face, and there's a ragged bit on the upper rim of it which just caught me under the nose.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
You left us on a letter reading cliffhanger, which is unusual in commercial radio,
Yeah,
I would
like
suggest.
an epistolary cliffhanger. So Lisa Mitchell, who's she says, I know you don't like gifts. Wrong. Just to say, keeping the show. Thanks for keeping the show going during the lockdown. I'm a nurse, and don't go on about it. I'm joking. That's brilliant.
wow.
Look, I was out there applauding. I didn't think I'd get gifts. I'd have applauded a whole lot harder. I'm a nurse, and I can assure you it's been a tricky few months, I'm sure. But knowing I could still sit with a cup of tea and enjoy and then it goes into a bit of praise. So she has sent me a poster, which is a painting of Mark E. Smith, the former lead singer of The Fall.
Don't have nightmares, kids.
Which, coincidentally, I've also got a card from Michelle, and I don't know if there's a surname, but Michelle makes cards.
I
You
love
can
that.
check her out on 8-Bit North X Stitch. And she's the one that she sent me is a sort of, it looks like a computer game of the Bill Grundy interviewing the Sex Pistols
Oh, yeah.
show. Great. She
That's
sent me
cool.
a bond, and she's a massive Fall fan. I'm saying I'm presuming Michelle. It's not like Michelle Thomas, the popular language teacher.
Or Michele, the Italian version, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
But anyway, Michelle makes cards with sort of bands and stuff like that on, and she's also sent me, I think, a Fall card.
Oh, how
And so
lovely.
2 Fall things in one go. And I still get the thing where I hear The Fall and think I will never see The Fall live again. And I could still, even saying it now, I can feel the throat tightening. But the music still exists. Let's not drag it down. As you say, it's not a place for moving things. You were talking about themes, were you?
Well, we've been discussing Simon May, Eastenders composer,
Yeah.
who, as we've established, composed. I mean, you know, he was responsible for, you said, El Dorado and a few other things. But it got me, I have been thinking about themes a lot because I encountered the man who composed the Newsnight and the Bergerac themes this week.
Wow.
George Fenton, I believe his name is. And
Fenton! Yeah.
fascinating. He told me regarding Newsnight, at the beginning, there's a sort of chicka-chow, dun, 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 you know, the guitar bit.
Okay.
And he said it was because he wanted it to sound like the news coming in off the airwaves, and it all sounded very immediate. I mean, the thought they put into it.
Oh, it should have had ticker tape. You know, when you see those people holding ticker tape coming out of what looks like a carriage clock.
And Frank Bergerac was influenced, sort of reggae vibe going on there.
Well,
Really?
Jersey, of course, famous for its reggae.
It was influenced by the Police, the music of the Police. Now,
Oh, because
he's in
it's
the
about the
police.
police. Oh, man, unbelievable.
he should have gone fun-loving criminals.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 8 12 15. We are live. I know. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, and you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. All those things.
Still trying to get your Green Day joke.
Well, we say day for didn't. So Green Day would mean Green didn't.
Oh,
You don't
day's a
know
school
that.
day.
You don't know that, did you?
Do you like my Dame Maggie Smith in Downton Abbey response? Oh.
Hey, here's the thing.
Come on.
Somewhat tangential. You know the gifs that you get on a mobile phone, like a little funny picture or moving video.
Sure,
Somebody
like Frank in his pants. There's
Somebody
one of
told me the other day that it's pronounced GIF.
No, I'm gonna shut you. No.
Do you say GIF or GIF?
I say GIF, but I mean, I wouldn't put any. I once called Snapchat knapsack accidentally, so you know, I'm one of those old fools.
I came up with a
fools.
very quick joke when I was told that it was GIF.
Ah.
I said I've been making a jaff all this time.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Well, I got criticised for pronouncing the name of the band Bros by my goddaughter's best friend Lulu, who said, it's Bros.
Oh.
It's Bros, you
wow.
idiot. I think she did call me an idiot.
Did you say you were
I
there the
said-
first time round?
I said, it's Bros. She went, there's no such word as Bros, it's Bros.
Well, I don't want to be contrary, but I always assumed it was B. Ross, named after Bob Ross of The Joy of Painting
It all
fame.
links.
I thought it was like a tribute band. Oh, man.
I had to then talk to her about Moss Bros,
Yeah.
explained that
Okay.
the term bros was probably only in the last 20 years, probably. It didn't exist.
Moss Bros doesn't work, does it?
No.
Anyway,
What about Haribos? No. Don't send me any.
can I mention something while we're on the subject of themes? Do you know you've mentioned brass in pocket, Frank? You have.
When I get money out of a cash pot, I always sing Brass in Pocket as
Yes.
I walk away.
It made me realise, I mean, less so now if I'm totally honest, but for a large portion of my life, if I was running late or in a bit of a sort of frenzied hurry, under my breath, I would sing the Benny Hill theme.
Oh. Okay.
Because I associated that with slightly frantic, speeded up activity.
Well, I think it's fair to say the National Health was depicted in a very different light. It's usually a nurse in stockings and suspenders sitting having sandwiches in the park with 12 men sitting at a certain angle. We didn't know.
Different times.
No, different.
No.
We put up a picture of my Bob Ross bobblehead, which is someone who, as someone sent me. As I say, Bob Ross is the host, was the host, no longer with us. Thoughts with his family, and he does The Joy of Painting, And what was I going to say about
Spit it out, love.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say about it. Carry on.
Okay. Well, I'd like to talk about...
Oh, yes. So I put a picture of me holding it on social medias. And I think the Bob Ross bobblehead is there too.
Oh.
And I look old on it, I'll be straight with you. I look like... Do you know when Harrison Ford went through a change where his expression became, "Where am I?"
Oh, no.
Do you know that? He's sort of... His mouth clamped a little and his eyes became very starey, like he was looking around for anything familiar. I've got that about me. Me and Harrison Ford, forever linked. Sorry, Emily, you were saying... Oh, no, it's...
I would, but I think the producer might, garrot me with piano
been very
wire.
strict this morning about how long we talk. It's because at the end of the show today, I should point out there will be a 2-minute... This is not a joke, this is serious. A 2-minute silence for VJ Day. So we got to make sure we finish the show on time because if we're doing jokes into that'll be the end of all our careers. And quite rightly.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're going to talk about there's actually some gigs are actually happening. I was talking a bit earlier that my tour has been moved to January, February. Happily, many of the tickets are sold, so we can't socially distance those people.
No.
But there's been quite a big gig this week,
Yes.
I believe, in is it near Newcastle?
Newcastle.
Oh, me lad, you should have seen us going along the Scott. Oh, keep your feet still, Geordie. You shall love a fishy on a little dishy. You shall love a bloater. Suki blah, suki blah, suki blah.
Newcastle,
Yes,
correct.
yes.
At, I believe it's called Gosforth Park,
Yes.
the racetrack, but it's now been rechristened. Well, it's not been rechristened because it's a pop-up stadium, isn't it? But it's the Virgin Money Unity Arena.
I gotta say, if ever a company got to the chase, it was Virgin Money. I mean, you know when people are a bit ashamed that they're in the sort of money, so they call it,
Freedom.
yeah, and all that, exactly, Aviva. But Virgin Money, all right? Wow, it should be like Virgin Sobs for you, it could have been called.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the phrase sobs?
Subs.
A sob.
As in a substitute.
Is that forwarding money before you're paid?
Yeah, when I worked in a factory, somebody'd say, "I'm going to have to ask for a sub. I'm a bit..." So they'd go to the management and say, "Can I have a bit of my wages a bit early?" So I need it. Pudding week, do you remember that?
When you say remember,
No. Pudding
be reasonable.
week. Because she got paid a week behind, as it were. Pudding week was the week which was the money you got just before you broke up for holiday. So it's important to get as much money as possible for the holidays. There you go. A little walk down industrial memory lane.
I like Pudding Week. So anyway, the Virgin Money Unity Arena. I mean, it's not the idea of people talking about that in years to come, like at the Shea Stadium.
Yeah.
What was your first gig at the Virgin Money Unity Arena?
Yeah,
What
we were
was
in
that?
metal pens.
What was that football team? They're called something Network Solutions.
Oh yes.
Don't know.
Yes.
And I can't remember but I remember the bloke. They won a game or something, a big game, and the bloke on the telly said, "And they'll be singing and dancing in the streets of blah blah Network Solutions tonight." Someone will send me the correct quote.
They will. They'll be with us shortly. So yes, so instead they had fans. I think the stadium normally there's a capacity of about 50,000, 45,000, and they had 2,500 people, all on individual raised metal platforms in bubbles of 5.
They look like little boxing rings, don't they?
Oh,
like
yeah.
tiny little metal boxing rings with people sitting in them.
They looked fabulous, is what they looked to me. They had.
Did you think so?
Oh, did I think so? It made me want to go to a gig for the first time ever.
There was an ice bucket in one I saw with like a bottle of wine in it or something.
There's a fridge.
Very, very nice.
There are seats. That's the key thing.
Yeah, I can see that being alluring, the seats thing.
Do you guys not fancy a seat?
Well, if I imagine myself on stage playing to that, it would be like trying to be funny through a portcullis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but look at the plus side. Go around saying I sold out Hyde Park.
Oh, that's true, and it's only 200 people.
Right.
Not even.
true.
Take advantage, boys.
Well, I think my management tell those kind of lies anyway.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've been chatting about the world's first socially distanced music gig.
Hold on. What I thought Beverly Knight did the London Palladium about 3 weeks ago.
And
Discuss.
and somebody else did another world's first socially distanced
But
gig.
were they theatre before, or were they indoors? Were they
Yeah.
Oh, that was an
outdoors?
indoor
London
one, actually, yeah.
You see, that's the thing. I think possibly it's because it's...
It's outdoor.
Anyway, we won't split hairs.
split hairs.
It's a big gig. Who did it? Sam Fender.
Sam Fender.
I don't know Sam Fender. Is that a real name, or has they adopted the popular
No,
guitar?
I think it's a real name.
And he does play the guitar. You see, if I was him, I would have made a point of never learning the guitar, just to be a little bit perverse about
Interesting
I know,
one for fact fans. The keyboard player in his band is called Steve Korg M1.
That's ridiculous. Martin Kazoo.
Oh, Frank, we've had a response. I mean, I knew we would, given our fabulous readers. They're so on it. Do you remember you had a poser before the
It was
musical
I
break?
couldn't remember the full name of something Network Solutions, which is a
And it was when a football commentator would refer
football
to...
comment. They did well. I can't remember what they did,
Yeah.
but he said a very funny thing, which I bet is on that.
I will now tell you, Matt Abbott, who is a poet, I believe.
Hey, Abbott! That's from the Abbott and
musician as
Costello.
well as a poet.
Okay.
He says they'll be dancing in the streets at Total Network Solutions.
Total Network Solutions.
There you
It was
go.
one of the great lines.
Yes. So the gig itself...
Can I be straight now? I don't know Sam Fender's work, should I?
I don't either.
Okay.
I think he's taken quite relatively seriously, because I
Okay.
think he may have
That'll be
supported Bob Dylan. I may have got
Oh,
that
wow.
wrong, or was asked to.
Really?
So yeah, I think he's parked in the serious slot.
I think that was Sam Zimmer.
He's no silly Billy, I
No.
think it's acceptable to like him, but I don't know. I loved what I saw.
Oh,
mean-
because of the sheep pens and the high seats.
It just seemed so civilised.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I am post mosh. I haven't.
Yeah, I don't think the mosh pit will be up to much in the
No.
social distancing
No,
rules.
that would be weird.
It's going to look like one of those silent discos, the things.
Who am I jumping? Who am I jumping against? You'd have to hang up some punch bags. But no, I haven't moshed for probably 4 years.
Oh, yeah, at least.
Wow.
So I don't miss.
Okay.
I don't miss the mosh. I wouldn't look. White hair doesn't look right in a mosh anyway.
Unless it's like really white and like.
Oh
kind
yeah,
of like-
if it was Billy Idol.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Idol.
doing his doing.
Oh.
Go Vidal. Did they call him Gore Vidal? No. Never Gore
Can I
Vidal.
say, I just, given that I once asked for a stool at a Chemical Brothers gig,
Did you?
I think this is ideal, nay, ideal for me, this
Wow.
setup.
Did if Ali, that Chemical Ali, if he'd have heard
Oh,
that,
for goodness sake.
oh man, he'd be furious.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Can we say quickly, the Newcastle gig, the venue, the Virgin Money Unity Arena, is that right?
Okay. When was you getting the Virgin Money thing in?
VMUA, I
Yeah.
suspect they'll start calling it. Van Morrison, he's going to do a gig there as
That's
well.
because he's only been asked because they can use the VM of Van Morrison for Virgin Money on the posters. I'm just saying.
What I think will be great about that is it's not ideal, as you were saying, for the performer, but he seems such a laid-back, easygoing man,
Yeah, he'll be
Van
fine,
Morrison.
won't
I can't foresee any issues at all.
I spoke to someone who was on tour with Van Morrison and Bob Dylan, and they went to a long period. They decided they weren't going to speak to each other, and he said he'd been in a restaurant with them having a meal and that, and Van would say something like, and I'm going to do the accents. All right, I think you're all right with that one.
Yeah.
Would you be after telling Bob that I thought he did a good gig tonight? And he would literally have to say, Van thinks that you did a really good gig tonight. Oh, tell Van, thank you. Bob said, thank. It was like that.
Weird.
Can I tell you my favourite Van Morrison thing? Actually, I think I have to. I read an interview with him in The Guardian once, and he got surprisingly, he got a bit irritated and annoyed, but he said, is there some kind of psychiatric evaluation?
Oh, wow. It's a good question.
And then he said, it certainly feels like it.
I mean, a lot of the long interviews in The Guardian do have that quality, so he's nailed it.
I've never read... I don't think I've ever read a whole long article in any newspaper. I always do. I'm a sort of 3 or 4 paragraph man.
I understand.
Good for you.
Frank, my last favourite VM is his song where copycats ripped off my songs. The fact that he actually has that as a lyric in the song.
Excellent.
Respect.
I didn't know that.
Good. He must get fed up of people thinking I'm having that. We do that. People, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he does. The van, I think they didn't call them vans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Luton van used to be called just a Luton.
Yes. We should say for people that are in the North East that might want to go to future gigs, there are future gigs coming up there.
There are?
It's, lockdown gigs. None of the headliners are the vaccines, I noticed.
No.
Or the Cure, they're not on.
No.
Shame.
I'm told, by the way, by the producer, who's the youngest person in the room, that Sam Fender is worth checking out.
Yeah.
She's actually recommended Hypersonic Missiles as the track to start with.
Yeah.
So I'm on Apple Music after this
You might like it.
gig. Apple Music for my Cause collection.
Yeah. And have you listened to the Taylor Swift album?
Oh, no.
No, me neither.
No.
I have.
I know. I've read about one of the tracks on it, though.
Oh, I love it when you read about Taylor
indeed.
Swift.
Well, because it was, as you know, I'm a great aficionado of poetry.
Aren't you?
And she's done a thing about the Lake District, including, well, I won't tell you what it includes because the producer has hit me so hard in the ribs.
With a rhythm stick.
I think I'll be wean blood for a fortnight. Good night.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, you mentioned Taylor Swift.
Taylor
I
Swift,
did.
yeah, who has got a new album out, I believe, called Folklore.
And there's a hidden track on it, is it? Is it a hidden track?
I think it's one of them bonus
It's one of them
tracks.
bonus
Whatever
tracks.
that
Okay.
means. What does that even mean?
I think in this instance it's on the physical album, perhaps, rather than the one that modern types like Frank Skinner and I.
It's not the one I've been listening to on Apple Music.
No.
No.
But she's got a song on there about the Lake District,
The Lakes.
which harks back to when she dated Harry Styles.
Well, I don't know. Harry Styles, apparently she flew over the lakes with Harry Styles. No plane.
Oh, because he can
Because he can, and you might remember, he could levitate to quite a height, Harry Styles. He
With those collars these days.
took her by her slim, and also because of she's got the famously long legs. If he started to falter in flight, just put those down.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Well, I think, you see, she's got a new partner now, hasn't she?
Joe Alwyn.
Oh,
That's a shame, though, because had she married Harry Styles, her name would have been Taylor Styles.
yeah.
Wouldn't that have been like a kind of...
Oh, like an advert at a
Fashion.
menswear shop.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, she missed her trick there.
I prefer Taylor Alwyn because it sounds a bit more like accountants who might rip me off.
Yes. I wish she'd married someone called Davis, and her name would have been Taylor Davis as a tribute to that fabulous snooker World Cup final.
Very good final.
Anyway, she does. It's in the Lake
77? No, it can't
District.
be.
I think it was
Later than that.
Trying to talk about poetry.
81.
They're going
I'm
on
gonna-
about 77
I'm gonna
snooker
say-
World Cup final. I
Okay.
mean, is this as man but this?
Sorry.
Definitely got it wrong.
she does. It's the lakes, and it's homage to the Lake District. And obviously, I think we should go over briefly to our poetry correspondent, Frank Skinner, to get his take on Taylor's. It's a sort of ode to Wordsworth,
Well,
is it?
she does that well. There's a pun on Wordsworth. This is what she says. I've come too far to watch some name droppers sleaze telling me what are my words worth.
Oh, yeah.
Now, one could argue that was name dropping.
Yeah.
Physician, heal thyself. That's what I say to Taylor Swift. I haven't heard the song, but
Okay,
the pun on words and worth is one I've seen several times, including sometimes in the early 19th century.
Is it?
Oh, okay.
And the late 18th, even, if it's just squeezed it in after the lyrical ballads, if you know what I'm talking about.
Also, Frank Skinner in Lake Windermere. Take me to the lakes where all the poets went to die.
Yes.
Those Windermere peaks look like a bird.
No,
is this...
Di was a local woman in the lakes who I don't want to cast aspersions.
But she had a bit of a reputation.
Very popular.
But presumably, you are a fan of poetry being celebrated.
Oh,
by Taylor?
look, I mean, it's if one Taylor Swift fan gets a copy of the complete Wordsworth and dips in, or even just goes online, that'd be a good thing. It won't happen. Let's face it.
Okay.
Because of her famously long legs, you wouldn't want to be in the lakes and see her come in a denim shorts coming over the striding edge. It'd be like, in War of the Worlds when they first appear on those terrible telescopic. Oh, terrifying! Especially like with Harry just coming through the clouds, Harry Styles. I think we need to start. We have to finish at exactly the right time today.
Yeah.
I could talk about Taylor Swift till.
You will, Oscar, you will.
Till the Swifts come home. But thank you so much for listening to us this week. And you know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.